up, everybody? It's Richard here with the Poles and Podiums podcast. Today, we're going to do a quick episode that's going to be a little bit of a dive into what is F1 Academy. So I thought it was important that we take a time to do an individual episode to kind of break down what F1 Academy is, how it's structured, what to expect from an F1 Academy race weekend if it's a series that you're interested in watching. I'm going to tell you how you can get access to it, where you can watch these races, and how you can support these female drivers. So what is F1 Academy? F1 Academy is a female young driver series that's being sponsored by Formula One to give young female drivers access to open wheel racing to get experience in their motorsports careers. It's a pretty cool opportunity. So F1 used to previously run the F1W series and other things like that. It didn't really get a lot of exposure. It was out there, but you couldn't really watch the races. There was nowhere to see it. F1 Academy has definitely taken a step forward in that and given the viewers access to watch these races. They make sure that they're happening on weekends to support the F1 race weekends so that the F1 fans are getting access to see these drivers and support these girls. And it's a really cool opportunity. So going into the car itself, it is a 174 horsepower four-cylinder vehicle, small, lightweight, low horsepower, open wheel race car. They're fairly quick. It's definitely something that's quite a bit different than what most of these girls are used to. So most of the drivers in F1 Academy have some type of motorsports experience. They're driving in some other type of series for a lot of them. It's like the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series and things like that. So this is just a different experience for them, a different series for them to get a different type of racing experience to just continue to further their motorsports career. So getting into the structure of it itself. So pretty much run by Susie Wolff, who's Toto Wolff's wife. If you're familiar with Formula One, if you watch Drive to Survive, you definitely know who Susie Wolff is. She's done a great job of putting this together, making sure that it's getting more and more attention, more and more exposure, and putting these girls on a spotlight so that they can get the attention that they deserve for the racing that they're putting in. So the field is fielded by 15 drivers. Each of those drivers has a team that is running the car for them. It's the same teams that you're used to if you're familiar with Formula 2 and Formula 3 racing. You know, you have your Rodin, your Prema, your Campos, your ART, your MP. So it's all the same teams that you're used to seeing in your Formula 2 racing and your Formula 3 racing. So they're super experienced, know motorsports, know these open wheel vehicles, know how to set up cars, and know how to develop drivers. So it's a great opportunity for these female drivers to dip their feet into open wheel racing and to get some real experience, some real training, and some real exposure with these big teams. So each of these cars is run by the same teams that you're running your Formula 2 or Formula 3 cars, but they're being sponsored by one of the major F1 teams and supported by one of the major F1 teams. So most of these cars are running a Formula 1 livery. You have your Alpine livery, your Ferrari livery, your Mercedes livery, your Red Bull, your V-Carb, your Kick, your Williams, your McLaren. All of these cars and these girls are sponsored by a major F1 team, which is really cool. Gives it the same look of your Formula 1 teams out there on track. Some of these teams are also being sponsored by a corporate sponsor. Corporate sponsors are Tommy Hilfiger, Puma, Charlotte Tilbury, Amex, and QVC. So every once in a while, not every race weekend for F1 Academy, but at some of their locations, they have a wildcard driver, which allows them to put a 16th driver on the grid, which is a driver that is just native to the area where they're going to be racing at that time. For this weekend, it's going to be Prema Racing with a QVC badged car that's going to be driven by Courtney Crone. So it's a really cool opportunity to give just an extra opportunity to somebody from that region or that country that the race is being hosted in and the race is being sponsored in, to just offer another opportunity to somebody who may not have an opportunity to get in these cars. Because, for everybody who loves motorsports, anybody who does racing, there's nothing like time in the cars. The more time these girls can get in the car, the better their racecraft becomes, and the better that they become as athletes, the more entertaining that it's going to become. So let's go ahead and jump into your weekend structure. How is your weekend broken down? So for F1 Academy qualifying, you have one qualifying session that's 30 minutes long. The girls run continuous laps, looking to set the best possible 2 lap times. Those lap times will determine their spot on the grid for the 2 races that they have each weekend. One race happens on Saturday, one race happens on Sunday. So the best 2 lap times that they set in qualifying will determine their grid position for Saturday and for Sunday. So your fastest lap time in qualifying will determine your grid spot for the first race, and then your second fastest lap time will determine your grid spot for the second race. Pretty interesting format, very different than what we're used to in our WEC racing, Indy racing, Formula One, most of these other racing series is, so it's a little bit of a different twist, definitely something interesting, keeps the races interesting, mixes up the grid a lot for sure, between race 1 and 2 each weekend. The race itself, for the Miami Grand Prix, it's 13 laps. It's a fairly short race, fairly similar to our sprint race. The cars are non-DRS, so these are really close wheel-to-wheel battles. A lot of really good racecraft is required for the overtakes, and some of these girls are skilled, man. The races are definitely worth a watch. There's a lot more action that happens in these races than in some of the Formula One races. If you like an exciting race, if you like some exciting motorsports, some wheel-to-wheel racing, some heavy, hard-braking opportunities, back and forth passing, aggressive fights on the track, you need to give F1 Academy a try. That's pretty much what we wanted to get into. Just the basics. Give you a little bit better understanding of it. I'm not going to go into all the drivers tonight. We'll do that after the second race happens tomorrow. I want to do a full episode on what happened in race 1, what happened in race 2, who the drivers are, and kind of tie that all into one episode itself. So thank you guys for checking out the video. If you have any questions about F1 Academy, we definitely want to be able to answer them. If you're not familiar with F1 Academy, have never watched it, don't know where to watch it, you can watch it on F1 TV. This video is not sponsored by F1 TV or F1 Academy. If you don't have F1 TV, it's worth the money. As a motorsports enthusiast, you get access to your Formula One races, your qualifying, your practice, a bunch of extra stuff, but then you also get these other series. You can watch your F2 races, you can watch your F3 races, and you can watch these Formula Academy races. F1 Academy races. It's worth the money. It's definitely a great value. You get to support the up-and-coming talent and the future talent, as well as your current superstars and the guys that we love, like Max and Lewis and Lando and Charles. We love all these drivers, but we definitely need to be showing love to these up-and-coming drivers, to these development drivers, and to these young and up-and-coming female drivers, because you never know. They could be driving for one of these major teams one day, and this is kind of that road to get them there. So thank you guys for checking out the podcast. Thanks for checking out the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit us up in the comments if you have any questions, or if you have any specific content that you want to see, race series that you want to see us cover. We're definitely open to it. We want to provide you with the content that you want. Thanks for checking us out. You guys have a good night.